It's what you become, not what you get. Jim Rohn says it's what you become and not what you get. So it's like in the process, you're in the process of becoming, and in the process of chasing your dream, in the process of discovering yourself. So if you're not focusing so much on what you get in instantly, but what you're becoming, the journey. Because the process of becoming, the process of chasing your dream, it does two things to you. One, you have a goal, you have a set out goal that you're willing to accomplish. You're going after it. All your focus is on that. Have you ever imagined, like, if you put your camera out of, like, if you're trying to take a picture and the object is not in focus, you could see how blurry it becomes. That's what happens when you don't focus on your dream. When you chase so many things in one go, everything becomes blurry because you're out of focus. You're out of focus. But if you focus on one thing, if you focus on your dream, if you focus on your goal, even if you don't get that, the process of becoming, you learn new things about yourself. You could actually pivot and arrive at something else, something even more prosperous than what you set out to achieve in the first place. And how do you go about this? Yeah, because like, through the process, you've learned, you've grown, you develop confidence, persistence, so you can apply that, what you've learned, what you've become, to different other fields, and you could flourish. So it's not about what you get in from the start, it's about what you're becoming, because now you've learned from your experience, growth, success, persisting. It's like when I was growing up playing tennis, I always, of course, my intention was to win, but I always accepted I could lose. But why I have that process? When I go through that process, I win or lose. Now I have the experience. So I never went in having to be scared of anything. I have that experience. I could now learn, like, if I can win this way, I win that way. But then the thing is, I have learned how to adapt. I have become, I have grown with this knowledge. So when you set out to do something, put all you can in it, all you have, let it become you. Get into that. Dig in deeper. You find that you discover so many things about you. How confident you are, how competent you are, how persistent you are, how resilient you are, and you can transfer all this into different other fields and flourish. And then people were like, oh, you're so lucky, but no one was there to see you fail multiple times. It's like when I play tennis, you lose so much, that becomes part of you. Losing becomes part of you. Like I was in my previous job, like a manager was talking about failing forward. Then I hadn't read the John C. Maxwell Failing Forward, and she was saying how you could fail at multiple things and carry on. But like, as she was saying that, I understood that because I came from a sport background where, like, you face to face with failure every day. So you just have to build on how to overcome. So failing forward is like you learn from your mistake and then you carry on. You don't give up. You don't enter a tennis competition and you give up after losing your first match. No, you go back, prepare harder, and come back stronger. And that's failing forward. That's fighting. That's becoming you. That's putting your best foot forward at every second, every stance, every point. But by failing consistently, helps you discover who you are. Now you begin to understand yourself, that you're that person. You never give up. You give in your best. Win or lose, you're going to do it. It's like a student that was applying to become a doctor in one of the Ivy League universities, and then the professors were interviewing him, and they're like, why do you want to become a doctor? He's like, well, I've dreamt of becoming a doctor since I was 8 years old, and regardless of the outcome of this interview today, I will become a doctor. That's the drive, that's the motivation you have to have. Like, regardless of whatever it is today, I will get to my dream goal. Why? Because you're in focus. You're like the camera lens. You look at what you see. You look at what you see, regardless of the outcome of whatever it is you're chasing today, regardless of the outcome of whatever you've been chasing for years, you would achieve it. Why? Because you have no other goal. Your number one goal, your number one dream is to face live, face to face. is to face life face to face. Come face to face with life. And don't despair when you come through face to face with the struggle of life, with the habit of losing. Just say to yourself, you are failing forward. When you lose at everything, I know this experience. I've lost so many things, so many times. I have lost like at the point my life was all failures. Everything I touched was failure. But had I given up at that point, had I thrown in the towel? So every time you give up, there's no going back. That's you dead. But once you carry on walking, once you carry on consistent, regardless of the outcome, you will get to your goal. But the thing is, most people avoid failures. Some people would never try because they avoid pain. But just take a look. When you go to the gym, you're trying to work out, you face some kind of discomfort. You face some kind of temporary pain. Why? Because you're growing. For every time you face a challenge, for every time you come face to face with a challenge, you are growing, you are improving. Without that, you will not growing. You're in one place. So you can't go about your life avoiding pain, avoiding challenge. That just means you basically just existing. You're just existing, you're not living. So for you to live, for you to grow, you have to go. You have to face challenges. You have to go face to face with challenge. You cannot go about your life avoiding pain. You have to go through life. You have to go through pain. You have to get out of your comfort zone. Discover new environment, new challenges. What's life for you? What are the things you want to do that you never take a step? Because you're so scared. You're so afraid. Maybe afraid of yourself, afraid of what people are going to say. What is this thing? What's this thing that's holding you, is keeping you back? What's the thing that's preventing you from growing, from succeeding? So you have to challenge yourself every day. In order to grow, you have to face challenges. No one sits in a comfort zone and grows. No, you have to face challenges every day. You have to come face to face with challenges every single day. And that's how you can grow. You have to be very uncomfortable. You have to let people talk about you, put you down, write you off. But why? You know you're walking in the dark. You know you're walking in the dark. You're going to meet your goal. You're going to meet your dream. You're walking in the dark. You know you're not giving up. You're not quitting. By challenging yourself, by putting yourself out there, you start discovering things you never know you could do. You know, things you never thought in 1,000 years you could do. Why? Because you've focused on the process of learning new things, of putting yourself out there, of doing things people say you could never do, of standing up every time you get knocked down. Like, as a tennis coach, I started off talking with kids. That's all I could do. You know, I could not even speak to their parents. No. But the funny thing is the parents pay the bills, so therefore it will be helpful to at least call them by name. Talk to them. The best thing is, talking to parents is easy. Why? Because we have a common interest. A common interest is the kid. I'm teaching the kid tennis. I want them to become the best they can. The current parents are paying for the lesson. They want the kid to become the best they can. Therefore, we have a common interest. We have a common interest. So there's the grounds to talk to the parent. So I started out talking to kids. But now, just by saying to myself, I'm going to talk to the parent, learning the names of this parent, trying and failing, I've developed the confidence. Now I talk to companies, organizations, do some adverts for other companies. I never know I could do this. Had I not been prepared to fail and over again. You know, like for me, I keep saying failing comes easy to me. Why? Because as a tennis player, as a sport person, you face failures every day. A lot of people I know quit because they just cannot stand the failure every week. They can't they can't come face to face with failure week after week. There's a lot of kids I teach tennis who they're like the best player when it comes to warming up, but they can't play games with you. Why? They just can't stand the sight of losing. There's a lot of people go through life this way, running away from failures. Why? Running away from losing. But you have to challenge yourself. You have to put yourself out there. That thing you want, regardless of the outcome, you have to take charge. You have to do it. Put yourself in a place of no return. Have a goal. The Englishman says, let's have it. So have a goal. That's all you could, at least, or that's all you could do for yourself. Have a goal. Have a goal of whatever it is. Sometimes you don't need to figure out everything. You don't need to know the end of everything. Just start. Just do. Sometimes we worry too much. We're trying to figure out every single step, Sometimes just take a step, take a leap of faith, and things will fall in place. Something you can't explain. Just trust. Just trust. That's it. Sometimes you can't explain the end. Just trust the process. Consistency, persistent, hard work, over and over again. Repeat it. And the thing about this faith thing is, like, we already have faith in a lot of things. We already do things we don't know the end. We already do things we can't figure out everything about it. You take maybe some kind of medication, like with some extended name, you can't even pronounce the name, but you take this medication and you have the belief it's gonna fix you. You leave your house every day to drive to wherever. You don't know what's on the road, but you do this. You cross the road every day. You don't know if a car is gonna hit you. You sleep, but you don't know if you're gonna wake up. You do it. So we already have faith. We already have faith. We use a lot of online platforms, input our information there. We don't know what's going to happen with it. So we already have faith. But I'm saying, have faith in yourself that the road is going to be steep, because if the road is easy, then you're not growing. They say to get to the top, you climb a hill. The road up, it's steep. It's steep. It's a steep road, but you have to. You cannot be comfortable. You cannot be just stay and die in your comfort zone, just existing. Believe there's a greater cause, there's a greater meaning to your life. Rely on just you and God. Don't let anyone put you down. Don't focus on what people have to say about you. Don't let people take advantage of you. Like I say, I'm not a speaker. I'm not a speaker. I'm from the street. Start trusting yourself. Not only listening to yourself, but talking to yourself. Saying to yourself, I am going to go after this, regardless, whatever it is, wherever it takes, I will give in my 100%. Stop focusing on the end goal. Do the process. Take the steps. For years I've allowed my fears to exploit me. I've allowed the fear of other people to exploit me. I've allowed what people say to exploit my weakness. But the worst of that is not even what people say. It's about my inner voice. Sometimes when I listen to myself, I've allowed that inner voice to exploit me. For many years, I had this enormous inferior complex about my accent, my English, my grammar, how extremely poor I was. I had all these fears about multiple things, like, fear of this, fear of that. Like when I spoke, how would people take me? I didn't have the best grammar. English is not my first language. What do I know that I want to say? But the thing, there's thousands of people like me out there who are waiting to hear from people like me. Had I been listening to people like me 10, 15 years ago, I probably would be in a better place than I am today. So that's what I'm saying. There is something in you. There's someone like you can reach. You don't have to reach everyone. Everyone's not your cup of tea. But there's people there, out there like you, who needs to listen to you and start living the life. If I've tried to structure my English to be like I'm from Yale, no, I'm from Oxford, no. I'm not trying to reach people there. I'm trying to reach people like me who cannot see the light, who've lost hope, who have this inferior complexity of maybe their English, their educational background, how poor they are. I was so insecure of my when I played tennis, and all people say, oh, you're just a tennis coach. I was so insecure about that. Then I thought, okay, maybe I should go get an education. Maybe I was have this inferior complex because of my educational background. Therefore, I went and got an education. I got a bachelor's degree. But then that wasn't enough. That didn't fix anything. I thought, oh, maybe I needed to get more education. I went and became a chartered accountant. So still, that didn't fix anything. So what? Then I thought, oh, maybe it's not my education. Then I thought, oh, maybe because I'm poor. That's why I've got this huge inferiority complex. Maybe because I was poor, therefore I can't relate with people from the other side, because I teach tennis and I teach a lot of wealthy people. So maybe because I'm poor, I can't relate to them properly. And then I heard Les Brown speak. Les Brown came from, like, I grew up poor, but I had my mom and dad there with me all through my life, all through my my childhood. I had my mom and dad. We were poor, but I had my two parents there. Then I listened to Les Brown. Les Brown was poor, adopted. So that wasn't the problem. Someone was poor, adopted, and he could do what he's doing. So therefore, that's no more excuse. I had to get rid of that. Then I said, well, maybe it's my grammar. I haven't got a good grammar, a good English. I couldn't use the Queen's English nicely. Maybe, Then I listened to Steve Harvey. When Steve Harvey went had an interview, and someone was saying to him, like, oh, he had to I'm speaking at corporations. That he had to restructure his English because he wasn't using the right grammar. And Steve Harvey was saying, well, I'd rather have a huge bank account than speak the right English. So therefore, that wasn't my excuse anymore. I couldn't use grammar as an excuse. So what could I do? I couldn't use being poor as an excuse. I couldn't use not going to having education as an excuse. I couldn't use not speaking the right English as an excuse. So what? So everything I thought was an excuse to me. Everything I thought hampered me. Everything I thought prevented me from going further. Actually, it was just like in my head. Because there's people out there doing better than I am with less than I have. So I had to rip off my excuse booklet. That's the day I started living. The day I ripped off my excuse booklet. I ripped it off, tore it. I now face life face to face. I came face to face with life. I discovered myself. From that moment, I relied on myself and God, nothing else. From that day, my life has changed. From that day, I started living. I no more existed. I no more lived in fear. I no more lived in excuse. Don't make an excuse for nothing. No one is the judge over your life. No one has to prove you. Everyone has their own problem. Everyone has their own problem. They're fighting their own battle. Your dream is your goal. You don't need an approval from anyone. It's your goal. God gave it to you, just you. They can see through your eyes. They can see what you're saying. Why? Because God is giving them something else. So why go to them for an approval? Your dream is your weapon. They say we have three types of life: the public life, the private life, and the secret life. And you know what brings you out? It's the secret life. And you know, for years I have been hiding my secret life because I feel, I'm so poor. Why tell people I'm poor? But when I heard to other people who been poor, they took the advantage to help other people. Now I let people understand you can come from nothing and become something. Why? Just follow the process. Stay in focus. And as you follow your dream, as you chase your dream, as you chase your goal, give it 100%. Stay in focus. For divided attention would fall. They said, like, when a trainer is trying to walk into like a lion's den, they take a stool with 4 pointed legs towards the lion, and just that 4 pointed two pointing to legs pointing towards the lion confuses the lion. Why? Because the lion is trying to focus on 4 things in one go. And they said, apart from a tranquilizer, nothing paralyzes a lion more than have a stool with 4 legs. Imagine if a mighty lion could succumb to just a stool with 4 legs. Why? Number one, he doesn't understand it. So if you're having a problem, try and understand what the problem is, what the root cause is. They say we fear a lot of things because we lack understanding. If only we could just understand the root cause of our problem, we'll flourish. If only we could just take time, invest our time, and understand why we stop where we are, we would flourish. So why are you chasing your dream? Why are you going through the process? Try and understand the root cause. If you're failing, try and understand it. Investigate. Profit from your failures. Profit from your failures. Don't leave it to chance. And why you're chasing your dream, try and stay on the right side. For you can't cheat your way to the top. No. You can't lie your way to the top. No. You can't steal your way to the top. No. It's only temporary. Be as honest as you can. Be as plain as you can. Let others take advantage of you. Be known for that guy who gives 100%. That guy who would never lie. You might not have the skill, but one thing people know, like, you would not lie. You would do your best. You would go 100%. You are willing to learn. Be that stand-up guy. No, you might not have the skill just like another person, but while you're on your way, try not to cheat, because everything you acquire through cheating would never last. If you walk in the dark, give it your 100%. If no one would see, God would see. God would see. You yourself would see. Your conscience will be the first to see. God would see. I remember they said when they said Michelangelo was painting the 16th chapel, the ceiling of the 16th chapel, the frescoes. They said on the corner of the 16th chapel, he was lying on his back painting this for 4 years. I think around 1508 or something. For 4 years he was doing this painting, and he dedicated his life to it. On a very small corner of the chapel, he was painting that he was putting in all his effort. And they said to him, why are you putting in so much effort in this corner of the chapel where no one would see? And he says, God will see. God will see. So therefore, if you're going through anything, don't try to cheat, don't try to hide, put in your best. If no one else would see, God would see. You would see, God would see. If you go about life chasing your best, doing your best, knowing that God will see, knowing that you will never cheat anyone, you will put your best foot forward. People might put you down for not having the skill, but people will never put you down for your commitment. For people might put you down for not having the talent, but people will never put you down for your honesty, and that will come to show, regardless of how long. Because why? You're following the process. You're in the process of becoming. You haven't become. You're still on your journey, still on your way. You in the process of becoming. It is what you are becoming. It's not what you get. And you become through the process. You learn through failing, through learning from your mistakes. Don't let anyone put you down. You have to build a positive network. People who you could share your ideas with. People who could give you the right criticism. People who not just criticize you, but give you a good platform, a good understanding. You can't just keep associating yourself with people who just constantly, all they want to do is tear you down, bring you down, discourage you. No, you have to build a new environment, a new place for yourself. They said even a parasite, when a parasite that clings onto a dead plant, once the plant dies, that parasite sometimes develops a temporary wing just to fly to some other flower. Because why? The environment is not conducive enough for them. Again, that environment is now dead to them. It's not conducive anymore. So if you associating yourself with negativity, you will always be negative. You'll never be able to grow. So build a temporary wing and fly to a new environment where you can grow. Always tune into channel P, positive channel. If things are not going okay, just know it's never going to go on forever. There would be a time when you're going to start winning. So just stick to it. It's like you in a tennis match. You one set down, two set down, and you come back to win. You boxer, you get knocked down a few times in the first round, second round, third round, and you come back to win. Life is like that sometimes for some of us. We don't throw in the towel every time. And how can we discover the end? How can we fulfill our goal, our one life goal, our one dream? You can't be like the next person. That's why it's very bad to try and envy people, imitate people, copy people. You can never be the best of that person. You can only be the best of you. Learn the positivity from that person, but use it to work in your favor. Don't go around life trying to imitate people. You can never be good as that person. So always be persistent, always carry on, regardless of the outcome, regardless of the circumstance. I remember as a 10 years old, going on the 12th, as on the 12th tennis, I won the trials to become the number one kid to go represent my country multiple times, and even though I was the number one, I was qualified to go, they took someone else. Have I thrown in the towel then and said, that's it, you cheated me, I'm never gonna play tennis again? Whose loss is it? Then they justify for doing what they did. But I put in more effort. I worked longer, I trained longer, I ran longer. Then I had no access to the gym, but I went for a longer run. I practiced, I hit the ball, I hit against the wall. I practiced with whoever was available. When there was no one there to practice with, I went to the wall. I hit against the wall. I made sure I put in the work. I didn't stay there and complain, no, because I know I had no other options. I was up against these people. They had all the resources. All I could do was work on the process. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from that, I would, even though I was still the number one, they took someone else. Why? Because I was poor. My parents couldn't stand for me. The other kids was from a rich family, so the parent had a say. In fact, one of the kids, his dad was the technical advisor for the country. So therefore, they went with what he said. But I didn't let that stop me. I carried on. I didn't complain about how life treated me, how they treated me. Even though I knew it was my right, I persisted. I trained harder. Every tournament I entered, if I didn't win it, I got to the finals. I was there saying, yes, you could cheat me, but God knows I will put in my best and you will always see me. You cannot go about life complaining, making excuses. Rip off that list of excuses you have. I tell you, you would start living from the day you stop making excuses of everything. From the day you focus on the process and not the end goal, you will start making life work for you. Now, don't go through life putting your head down, succumbing to your current circumstance, your current situation. Don't allow your present circumstance to determine your outcome. Don't focus on the struggle you're going through now. Just understand it's a process. It's a process. Focus on the idea, the possibility, your vision, your dream, your goal. I believe every one of us has that power to restart all over again, regardless of what it is. I always go back to sports. Like in tennis, you could be like 2 sets down. In Grand Slam, you could be like 2 sets down and you come back and win a 5-setter. That's a comeback. Although that happens in within few hours, but that's what happens in life, in some people's life. You down and out. You down and out, but you get up and you come back. And I believe each and every one of us has this power, the power to turn a negative into positive, the power to turn bad into good, the power to come back, the power to have an upset. I believe each and every one of us has this power in us, the power to restart all over again, regardless of how old you are. They said Thomas Edison, while he was 60, his New York studio burnt, At the age of 60, he's built this studio, like a research center with everything in it. At the age of 60, he said, like, while that was burning, he said to his kids, go call your parents to come have a look at this fire. She'll probably never see any fire like this again. He took the fun side of life. He decided he chose to be happy about it, because what could he do? And he said to himself, I am 60, I'm full of ideas, out of less than time, but I am willing to start over. At 60 years old, he started over. He died when he was 84, 24 years after that. So if he could start at 60 years, if he could restart at 60 years, you could restart at any age. Why was he able to restart? Because he has a lot of ideas, a lot of focus. They said better is him who has an empty head than an empty pocket. With your focus, with your dream, you could make things happen, regardless of your age, regardless of your situation, regardless of your circumstance, regardless of wherever you are. You could start afresh again. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Don't anyone tell you otherwise. You have the ability. You have the goal. You have the drive. You have the persistence. The thing is about process helps you discover your inner self. Process brings you face to face with your inner self. Process helps you discover yourself. So if you failed so much, or you've never given up, process makes you understand you can do better. Therefore, you have courage. You build up courage. They said courage is fears. They said is prayer. So regardless of what the outcome is, I am going to do. I am going to push. You discover your inner power, the will. You discover your will. You discover your fight. You go where you never thought you could go. You do what you never thought you could do. Like I speak when I never thought I could speak. I went to uni when I never completed even high school. I did things. I became a chartered accountant when I never even thought I could step into a university. But when you have that goal in you, when you have that drive in you, when you build yourself up, you can face anything. You can come face to face with anything. Nothing will scare you anymore. Why? Because you understand the process. That's why you see some people, rich people, they lose their money. They require the money. They can get the money back. Why? They understand the process. It's about the process. It's about what you become.